She was born in Pompey Bay, Acklands in 1941 to Mrs. Nellie Gibson Hanna and Mr. Stanley Hanna. She traveled to Nassau by boat at 7 years old to be with her mother, who had relocated to Nassau to find employment. Like many young girls during that era, she fell victim to a very early marriage before the age of 16 years old. It was a difficult time in her life, but she rose up, worked hard, and made a life for herself in spite of the emotional hardship. In this episode of Bahamian Heritage Series, Cornelia Drusilla Hanna-Johnson.
My full name is Cornelia Drusilla Hanna-Johnson. My date of birth is April 24th, 1941. That makes me 82 years old, the 24th of this month.
Did you have sisters and brothers?
Yes, of course.
What were their names?
I have 3 sisters. Okay. Agnes, Morse, Maud, Harriet. Yeah. Okay, 3 sisters with myself that make 4.
Okay.
4 girls, yeah. And
Did you have brothers?
yeah, 1 brother, Douglas.
Okay.
Times, yeah.
And so where did you fall in all of that? Were you the first child or second?
Yeah, I am the first child.
Okay, so you were the oldest child.
Right.
Were all of your siblings born in Pompey Bay? All of them born in Pompey Bay. Okay.
Except Harriet, you know,
Okay. Harry was born
Nassau.
in Nassau.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's the baby, you know.
So did you live in Pompey Bay all your life?
No, I left there when I was about 7 years old.
Do you remember much about Pompey Bay as a child?
Not very much.
No?
Not very much.
Could you remember the house that you lived in?
Yes, I can.
Really? Can you describe it?
At first we used to live in a little house in the bushes. You know, we were very poor growing
Just
up.
about everybody
Yeah,
was
we
back
were
then.
very poor back then. And after a while, my mother, or my daddy and mother, they sent us to live with our aunt. Yeah, right somewhere in Acklands. And they came back and they built a pretty nice house right on by the beach. Okay, so we didn't stay in that house very long.
Right.
Okay, yeah, it was nice.
So why did they send you to live with people? Was it because they were trying to work and get this
Yes,
together?
what they were trying to work, and my mother wanted to come to Nassau to work, and you know, my father, he was on the contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what type of work did your mother do?
What she
Was
did?
she working in Pompey Bay at the time?
No,
Okay, so
But-
in Pompey Bay she was like a homemaker,
right,
and your father was on the contract?
right,
Okay.
yeah, and my mother came down in Nassau, you know, so that is when we went to Cricket Island
Okay, so you
to
moved
our grandmother there.
Okay.
Yeah,
So your grandmother was who?
Maud Gibson.
Okay. Maud Gibson was your grandmother on your mother's side?
Yes, on my mother's side.
Do you remember your grandfather?
Yes,
Okay, what was his name?
John Gibson.
What about your grandparents on your father's side? Do you remember who they are?
No, I can't
You never
remember
met
them. No, I never met them.
Okay, but John and Maud Gibson on your mother's side?
Yeah, but
They were
I
in
could remember, yeah. No, I don't remember them.
So did you stay with your grandmother a long time in Crooked Island?
No, not very long. I came down here with my mother, and Agnes and Maud, they stayed up there with them for a while.
So how old were you when you came to Nassau?
7. Yeah.
So your mother came to Nassau to work?
Yes, she came down to work, and
What type of work did she do?
she housework, housekeeping or whatever.
I
Yeah.
assume she was very young at the time.
Yeah, she was young too. Yeah.
Did she have brothers and sisters?
Yes.
Do you remember them?
I can remember. I don't know if I could remember all of them, but I could remember Stedman, Clayton, Garvin, and Sherwin. Yeah.
They were all Gibsons, right?
Yeah, all Gibsons. They're all Gibsons.
Sorry.
Yes,
Yeah.
Uncle Jervis.
Jervis,
I know,
yeah.
yes, Uncle
I know
Jervis.
it was a J.
Yeah, Uncle Jervis. Yes, I forgot him. Yeah.
Jervis. Okay. And you mentioned Alice.
And Aunt Alice. Yeah. My
You knew
mother.
her very well, or no, not that well?
Yeah, I knew her very well. Me and her was very close.
When you came to Nassau, did you come alone, or did you come with other siblings
No.
along with your mother? Was it just you
I
and your
don't
mother?
quite remember, but I came on a boat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You came on a
they
boat
sent me on a boat. Was a little girl on the boat.
with your mother? Or
No, my mother was here in
So you-
Nassau.
So you came on the boat alone?
Yeah,
That must have been a long journey. Because Crooked Island ain't close to Nassau.
Nassau. No, don't know those days. Yeah,
But do you still remember that experience?
I can vividly remember, not very well, but I know I went on a boat.
Okay. So when you came to Nassau, what about schooling? Did you start school in Crooked
Yes.
Island and in Auckland, or did you start school here?
Yeah, I used to go to school in Auckland. Then when I came down here, I went to
School Sudden
yeah,
Senior?
Sudden Senior.
Sudden
That's where I went, yeah. And the neighbors there, they were very nice to me, where my mama used to rent. And
Do you remember where she lived in Nassau?
yeah, that was somewhere off East Street. And I remember she was renting from a Coopers, some Coopers. And
So where was your father at this point?
on the contract.
Okay. So you lived with your mother and went to school here?
Yeah.
Who else lived in the house with you?
Okay, was just me and my mom for a while. Then after that we moved. We moved through Oxford Avenue in our own little house. She built a house, right, and but it was not our property. We rented, we leased the property. Okay, the property was leased, and
And build the house.
yeah,
Wow, that's interesting.
yeah, that's where we used to live.
Well, that was not where I knew her to be, right? Because when I was a child, she was in Lincoln Boulevard, was it?
Yeah. Then after
Came
that,
after.
she moved. Yeah, yeah.
So, did you graduate or finish high school here?
Because you know those days, your mommy stopped you from working, from going to school to go to work.
So, what did you ever meet up with your other siblings, or did they stay in?
Oh, they came down after we moved down in our own home. They came. All of them came down.
They all came down and they stayed with your mom.
Right.
The house that you lived in back then, do you know if it's still there?
No. When my mother had to move the house, it was a time for them to move the house, and I think what happened, and she had to move, and that's why she must have sold it, or to the people that she was leasing from at that time, and then that's when she started paying renting down in where?
Lincoln Boulevard.
Lincoln, yeah, Lincoln Boulevard. That was her own house in Lincoln Boulevard.
Okay.
Yeah, but she used to rent otherwise
Prior
then.
to that.
Yes.
Okay, so all this time she continued to work?
Yeah.
What did she do for living?
I used to do babysitting and stuff like that.
Okay, to make money.
Yeah.
And then after that, did you continue babysitting, or did you change jobs and do something else?
I was coming from from getting water, getting water from the pump. How you call that out there? Because we didn't have that. And I met this man, and then he followed me home, and then he started talking to my mother. Okay. At that time, I had to have been about 14. I was not 15 yet. Okay. And him and my mother, they got friendly. I only was a little girl, and he must have told her he liked me, and I never liked him because I only was a child.
How old was he?
At that time, well, I think he's 7 years older than me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was probably at least 20.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. At that age, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, between, say, 30 and 37 is not big, but 14 to 20 is...
Right, you know,
right.
because
in terms of maturity.
Because I'm only a child, you know. I was only a child.
Okay. So, how you did eventually get married? Was there a long period of time between you meeting him?
Then after that, I think he waited until I got, I think 15, and then he must have gotten engaged to me. I don't know, because every time he come to the house, I never sit close to him. I always sit away from him because I don't know this man. How he was a child. And many times when he come around to the house, my sisters would say, "Oh, Neil, he coming." See the bicycle coming, and I'm running because we are out on the yard playing hopscotch, you know, and things like that. So then I'm running away. Where is this man going? You know, and that's the way that happened. And I think when I got 16, then I got married. Crying. I used to have a white lady where we used to go to church, and she used to come and pray with me. And I'm crying. I say, "Sister Goodby, I do not want to get married. I don't know that man. I don't love him. I never wanted that." And he should have stopped because he know I did not like him. When he come to the house, I'm sitting over there. I never liked that man. Why is it people do those things to people?
So, what church did you go to? We're talking about church.
Yeah, well, at that time it was a church we used to go to. All I can remember is it's a good free church. But you know, after I got married, then I joined his church. That was the Dixie Church. That was on Wolf Road.
Oh wow, okay, interesting. That church has been around for a long.
Yeah, a long time. So.
Okay.
Very young.
So basically, you felt as if you were forced into something that you really.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
You know, back in the day.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, it was something that happened often.
Yeah.
And I think, sadly, many times it was because people felt the need to see that you were secure and able to feed yourself and take care of yourself, in spite of the fact that there might have been no love between two people.
Yeah, that's how my mother felt.
You know, she probably felt like you weren't educated.
Right.
You didn't have a job that could really sustain you, and here it is, this person is offering things, and you know, it's unfortunate.
It is
doesn't
unfortunate.
happen as often nowadays, but it has happened in the past, and it still happens in some situations where people are forced into relationships and marriages that really probably was not meant to be.
No.
You know, especially at that young age.
It was not meant to
so
be.
It must have
Definitely.
been traumatic for you.
Definitely. That
At some point, did you just settle in your mind and just accept it?
Well, I had no other choice. Some people tell me, why didn't I run away? Where was I going to run?
You see, that's it.
Where?
Yeah, it's almost like you were stuck.
Yeah.
You know, where are you going? Did you have a house to go to?
No, right.
If you had gone back home, would your mother have accepted you back home? Or would she have told you to go back to him?
You mean after I get married to him? No, I'm talking about when I was going to get married to him, when him and my mother, when they set up the wedding and they buy the dress and everything, what I'm saying, you know, if I could have run away then, that was the time to run away, you know.
Yeah, but you had no ready.
Yeah.
So it's an unfortunate situation that happened.
Yeah.
And as a result, you did have children, right?
Yes.
How many children did you
I
have?
had two. I had a girl and a boy.
Okay, and their names?
Gregory, the first, and LaDonna, the second.
Two beautiful children.
Beautiful. I had two nice children.
Yes,
Lovely daughter.
So after you got married, did you continue to work or?
Yes, I used to work. I know I used to work down out west doing switchboard. You know, I was switchboard operator. And, you know, I had such a lovely voice. You really, everybody that I spoke to, they want to come and see who is this lady at the switchboard. You know, yes, very pleasant. It
So
was
that
really
was the
like,
type job that suited you. That was your talent.
yeah. And then I started to work across Paradise Island. Yeah.
What did you do on Paradise Island?
At the front desk. I was front
So it was
desk
the same
cashier.
type. Okay.
And then I got promoted then to be the supervisor. And then after that, I become the credit manager.
Okay.
So that's the way I moved up in the job. That's my picture right there.
Okay. So did you continue with the Dixie Church, or did you eventually move on to?
Yes, after, yes.
Is that still your church today?
No. So,
What are some of the things that you all did that you could remember back in the day in Nassau? Like, did you have a lot of friends? Did you go a lot of places? What was life like for you back then? It seemed like you worked from very young.
yeah.
And you helped out in the home.
Yeah.
Did you have much of a social life?
No.
Because
No.
you got married really young.
Yeah,
So there was
yeah.
really not much time to even be a child.
No, right. Yeah, my childhood was taken away from me, so. But when I get grown and I worked Paradise Island and all the things like that, you know, things change. Yeah, I was not divorced. I was not married then. Yeah. But 11 and 10, those kids was when we divorced. So,
So maybe you was married for about 12 years.
yeah, that's all it says. So.
Wow, that's a long time ago. Hey.
Mm.
And you never remarried.
No, because I was afraid of men like that, because I think they can do me the same thing.
Okay.
Because the divorce was very nasty. Yeah, and I don't know how I make it. But I
Lord.
made it through. This God. Oh, glory.
Yeah.
God.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Lord.
Praise the Lord.
I don't know how I made it.
And
This is-
you certainly don't look like what you've been through.
And this is why I had mentioned when my uncle died. My uncle had a lot to do with being the woman that I am today.
Okay. And which uncle is that?
That's Shervin Gibson, my Uncle Shervin, who I love dearly and who he loved dearly.
Right.
I was one of his favorite niece. And when he come up there and I'm going through my things with those children, you know, when these boy children get of age, and he said, Neil, you don't stay down there, you better get up. You got to get up, you can't stay down there, you know, and so he helped me, made myself the woman I am today, and I'll never forget that. After I moved out of Prince Charles, yeah, I sold the house. When I got 60, I said, Lord, I'm getting old now. I'm 60 years old, and I can't borrow no more money from the bank because it was a big house, 2-story house to do a lot of work, shingle and a lot of work. I say, God, I'm going to have to move. This house have to be sold. Well, at that time, my husband's name was still on it, So I told my daughter, Donna, I am going to sell the house, and I don't know what to do, but I made my mind up. And that's the way the house, was sold. And I'm a faith person, and I know God wanted to help me to get out of there, because I used to talk to my God, and I used to write my God all kind of letters and tell him, I can't stay in here, I have to get out. And I got out, and I'm here.
To God be the glory.
I love my little home. You could look outside and see how I love my home. Oh, yes.
From Pompey Bay to Mount Tabor Estate.
You're right. God is good.
God is good.
Good all the time.
What is your advice to young people today, based on everything that you had to go through as a child and then an adult?
Yeah, well, I just hope that these days that I don't think that happens to people, marrying somebody that they didn't really like or, not fall in love with. And, You need to get a good education, and I think you should, be ready when it's time to get married. I didn't have that luck.
Cornelia, at 81 years old, is still going strong, taking care of herself and even caregiving members of her family. With a caring and nurturing heart of gold, she has achieved a home of her own and lives daily thanking God for the way He has brought her through. We salute Cornelia Hanna-Johnson in this episode of Bahamian Heritage Series.